I love my Dexcom G7. It's a great tool to help me manage my blood sugars and keep my A1C exactly where I want it. And it has a lot of features. Some of them are quite brilliant, but also a little hidden. For example, did you know that your Dexcom can predict the future? And I don't want you to miss out, so let me show you 9 brilliant Dexcom G7 features that you might not know. And this is going to be a very hands-on video because I'm actually using most of these 9 features myself. And I hope you're going to stick around for the last 2 features, feature 8 and 9. Those are probably the ones I use the most often. Let me start by quickly introducing myself. I'm Christelle from Diabetes Strong, and I've been living with type 1 diabetes since 1997. I've been using Dexcom CGM since around 2015. That means first the Dexcom G5, then G6, and now I'm using Dexcom G7. And I gotta say, they added a lot of nice bells and whistles to the G7, and most of them are really helpful. And the first feature, and probably the one I'm the most excited about, is the alert flexibility. Alerts are great, they can be life-saving, but flexible alerts? Well, that's really great. Not only can I set my high and low alerts with different alert tones and all that good stuff, that's nothing new. What I really like is that I can set different alert schedules. I can mute all of the alerts, and I can also delay alerts. This means that I can customize the alerts to work for me. And I really think this can help with alarm fatigue and general frustration with CGMs. Let me show you. Open up your Dexcom, click Profile, and then click Alerts. New things here are the quiet modes. You can set it to vibrate, and you simply pull this little lever down here. It can come up, well, it can vibrate forever. Just remember to activate it, or for a few hours. Again, I've activated there. You can also silence all. This is new. You can silence everything, including the urgent low. Again, pull it up. And it's up to 6 hours. You have to remember to activate it. Another thing is that you can set more than one alert profile. So you see here, I have primary, I have sleep. You can also set it to maybe work and home. Big difference for me is my high-lows are different, but you can set it to whatever you want. If you're nervous about lows at night, this would be the place to go. A little bit more aggressive than you are in the daytime. Another really cool thing is, it's going on my high alerts. Here you can see I've delayed first alert on, turn that off, and I've set it to an hour. You can set it to, I think, well, a long time, 24 hours. I would never do that. That seems excessive. But anyway, delay first alert means that if my blood sugar hits 160, I will not be alerted for the first hour. If only having the high alert and the urgent low alerts turned on, or maybe having all of the alerts turned on works for you, cool. My point is, you can and you should adjust the alerts so that they work for you. And now that we're talking about having options and choosing what's best for you, let's take a quick ad break where I introduce you to the sponsor of this video. This video is sponsored by US Med. US Med is a medical device distributor. And here's a brief recap on how they can help you get your CGM, your continuous glucose monitor, as well as other medical devices. US Med is a full-service diabetes supply distributor. And they'll handle everything from insurance verification to getting the prescription from your doctor to sending your supplies directly to your mailbox. They can send out everything from your Dexcom to pump supplies and insulin to smart pens or Freestyle Libre. All you have to do is reach out to them. So I guess that could be the 10th way of optimizing your Dexcom experience by just having it delivered directly to your door. And the second really cool Dexcom feature that I think we should all be using, and I think you should be using it actively, is the Dexcom trend arrows, because they're actually predicting the future. You've probably noticed them, but are you using them? I mean, they're not quite self-explanatory, so let's talk about them. Let's also talk about what I mean by them predicting the future. And I also want to talk a little bit about what does it mean when there's no arrow. If you're using the Dexcom app, you'll see that the arrow sits around the current blood sugar. And if you're using the receiver, it shows up as an actual arrow next to the current blood sugar. And here's what it means and why you should care, because your blood sugar is not static, and upwards of 42 things can impact it, like all of this stuff. What makes our Dexcom really valuable is that it can help us manage our blood sugars even when they're acting a little unpredictable because of those up to 42 plus things that can be going on. And the arrows can predict the future in the sense that they can give us an indication of how much our blood sugars are changing. This chart shows it pretty well. You probably guessed an upward arrow means that your blood sugars are increasing, but look at this slightly upward arrow versus a straight upward or 2 arrows upwards. it means very different things. I usually use this extra piece of information in the morning when blood sugars go up or can go up without me eating or drinking. It's due to dawn phenomena or feet on the floor, which is basically my body releasing glucose from my muscles, my liver, and my cells to help me get the day started. I know, super helpful. So let's say that I wake up with a blood sugar of 120 milligrams per deciliter, but with an arrow slightly upwards. In a situation like that, I'll not dose insulin based on 120, but rather on a predicted blood sugar of 170 milligrams per deciliter. I do this because a slightly upward arrow indicates that my blood sugars might be 30 to 60 milligrams higher in 30 minutes. But it is an indicate and it is a might, so we do have to be careful when using the arrows. In my example, I added 50 milligrams per deciliter, not 30 or 60, and I did that based on experience. Using the arrows for me means that I can catch highs before they get out of hand, or sometimes before they even turn into a high. I also find that the arrows can help with restraint in case of a low blood sugar. So for example, if my blood sugar is 70 with an arrow straight or upwards, I might not treat that with the same level of urgency as if I had a 70 with an arrow downward. One thing to note is that a straight arrow doesn't mean that your blood sugar is not moving whatsoever. It just means that it's not expected to change more than 1 milligram per deciliter a minute. But then what if there's no arrow at all? I think the best way to say it is that your Dexcom is a little confused and it can't give you a trusted indication of how your blood sugars are fluctuating. If you continue to see no arrows, it's probably a good time to pull out your glucose meter. And the third really cool Dexcom feature is the Dexcom Share functionality. I think it's great, I think it's brilliant, but I'm actually not using it myself. But I do want to quickly go over what it is, what are the benefits, where you can find it, and then of course why I'm not using it. Dexcom Share allows you to share your blood sugars with up to 10 people in real time. I know a lot of parents love it, as well as people who live alone or those who do not feel their low blood sugars. Overall, it's a great feature for safety and peace of mind. And with the Dexcom G7, it's really easy to set it up. Just open up the G7 app, click Connections, click Share, turn Share on, add followers' email, select what information they'll see, and then send the request. Your followers will have to download the Dexcom Follow app, and once they receive your share request, they should be able to just follow the prompts to get connected. I used the share functionality with my husband for a hot minute, but for us it just turned out to be a stressor. We have an agreement at home that if I need help, I'll ask for it. So generally he does not react when my Dexcom alarms go off. And then when I'm not home and when I had the share functionality turned on, if my husband received a low alert, he'd get really nervous, he'd want to help and reach out. So I don't need that. That's just how I manage. I've never had an urgent low blood sugar. So usually always, I'm able to feel my low blood sugars or hear the readings, do something about it, and get back into range. For us, it was just a stressor. I think the moral of the story, just as with all of the alarms, is use what's right for you and what brings value. Let's quickly move to the fourth Dexcom feature that I find really helpful, and that is using the Dexcom Clarity app. Yes, it's another app, but you can actually also use the browser version. I just prefer the app. Either download the Clarity app or go to clarity.dexcom.com and log in with your Dexcom password and username. And here's the brilliant part. It shows you a high-level summary of your blood sugars for different time ranges. And this tab is really cool. This Reports tab, here you can download your data, because when you can see your data, you can figure out what works and what doesn't work, and you can make changes. I usually download overviews, patterns, daily, and compare. Those are just the reports that I find the most useful, but you can also just download all of them. It doesn't cost you anything. You can then either view the reports in the app or in the browser, or you can export it. And if you export it, it'll come out as a PDF. If you want to know your GMI, so your glucose management indicator, which is an approximation of your A1C, you do have to download either a 30-day or a 90-day report. In my opinion, the reporting is great. And the more information you feed it, the better it gets. You feed it information by logging information such as your insulin or the medications, meals, preferably including amount of carbs, activities, and other notes. When you then download your Clarity report, all of this information is going to show up and you'll be able to see exactly what's impacting your blood sugars. And that's a great segue into the fifth feature that I want to highlight in this video, as it's an integrated part of the Clarity software, and that is the pattern recognition. Your Dexcom Clarity report will actually pinpoint pain points and come up with suggestions on what to change. So in essence, you have a tiny medical team built into your Dexcom Clarity software. Not bad. It won't tell you exactly what to do, only your own medical team can do that. But it'll tell you what to consider. For example, maybe changing up your long-acting insulin or your meals. It's worth noting though that it has to be a really strong pattern for it to have anything to highlight. And often I don't have that. This doesn't mean that I shouldn't make any changes to my diabetes management, but it means that there are no big consistent trends that the Dexcom software could pick up on. Okay, we are already more than halfway through my Dexcom feature list. We're moving fast here. And just to recap, the features we've gone over so far are the alerts, the arrows, the share functionality, the Dexcom Clarity, as well as pattern recognition. This means that we only have 2 more features to cover before we get to that 8th and 9th feature. And as I mentioned up front, I use those every day. And I can't use the 6th feature, unfortunately, because I do not have an Apple Watch. I have a Fitbit. This really works for me. It allows me to see my Dexcom G7 readings, but it does not have all the features of an Apple Watch. But if you do have an Apple Watch 6 or later, that needs to be running watch OS 10 or later, and an iPhone running iOS 17, you can connect your Dexcom directly to your watch and just leave your phone at home. And it's super easy to set up. Just open the Dexcom G7 app, Connections, Direct to Watch to begin. Then follow the on-screen instructions in your Dexcom G7 app to set it all up. With the Direct to Watch option, you can see your blood sugar readings directly on your watch without bringing your phone along, and you can also clear alerts directly on the watch. If you want to use the Dexcom Share or Follow functionality that we discussed earlier, you still need to be within 20 feet of your phone. As I mentioned, I will not be using this feature right now, just because I don't have an Apple Watch. I have a Fitbit Versa 2, see that here, where I see my Dexcom readings. I do have to bring the phone along when I go anywhere, but this still works, and I doubt I'll be splurging on an Apple Watch until it doesn't work anymore. This next feature is brilliant, but unfortunately I can't use it. But this is going to be the last feature that I'm not using that I'll be showing you before we get to those that I use every day. And the 7th feature is automatic activity locking, and I would 100% be using this if I had a device that could sync with Dexcom. Automatic activity locking means exactly that. All your activity, your walks, your exercise will automatically be locked in the Dexcom app. Any activity can impact blood sugars, so being able to see those notes automatically in the Clarity app is quite brilliant. But the thing is, you need the right activity tracker that can connect with either Apple Health or Health Connect. Unfortunately, the activity tracker phone combination I have is a no-go. I have a Fitbit and I have an iPhone. And Fitbit does not connect through Apple Health. Here's an overview of what works with Android as well as iOS. For Android, you're using Health Connect. Devices such as Wear OS watches, Oura Rings, and Fitbit works, but not Garmin. When it comes to iOS, you're using Apple Health, and here you can use Apple Watches, Garmin watches, Oura Rings, but not Fitbit. iOS users will, aside from exercise, also see their displayed steps, active minutes, and active energy in the History tab. Okay, this combined with the fact that I can get direct to watch with an Apple Watch does start to push me towards wanting an Apple Watch. Maybe I should start saving up. And now we finally made it to the last 2 features, and as you've heard throughout this video, I'm really excited about those. Thing is though, they'll only work if you have an iPhone. Do you ever have your hands full? Let's say that you're driving or cooking dinner, or maybe you're in a situation where your phone is not right there next to you. Well, did you know that you can ask your phone to just say your blood sugar readings out loud? And it's super easy to set up. So first, if you haven't already, you need to go into your settings and activate Siri. So Siri is the iPhone's built-in digital assistant. Just go into your settings, activate her, and you can even choose her voice.
Hi, I'm Siri. Choose the voice you'd like me to use.
First, you want to find the shortcut app. There we go. Then we click the plus sign, add action. Here you want to search for Dexcom G7. Get glucose. So done. go back in the app. I'm going to look at my profile, share shortcuts. So I both have now Get Glucose and my old one that was, hey Siri, what's my glucose? So let's hear what she has to say. Hey Siri, get glucose.
Okay, viewing. You're 105 and steady?
Nice. And that's it. You're ready to go hands-free to have your phone read out your blood sugar readings whenever you need it to. Pretty cool, right? And my ninth and my final Dexcom feature, and one of those that I really like to use, is the Dexcom G7 lock screen widget. There's also a regular Dexcom G7 widget, but this one is really useful because it shows up on your screen even when your phone is locked. Let's say that you don't want Siri to read your blood sugars out loud. Maybe you're in a meeting and you don't want to have to unlock your phone. Just tap on the screen and your blood sugar is right there. Let me show you how to set that up. As I told you, this is a very hands-on video. Hold on to the lock screen, here we go. Then you'll want to click Customize. Customize lock screen. And here on this specific lock screen, I can have a few different options. So here, I could take it off, now it's gone. And then I just go down and I find it in my widgets. Here we go. Easy peasy, click done. And here we are. And just like that, you're able to see your blood sugar readings even without unlocking your phone. Pretty neat, right? So that was 9 Dexcom G7 features. And do you remember that 10th way of optimizing your Dexcom G7 experience that I mentioned up in the beginning of the video? Well, it's not quite a Dexcom feature, but it's the option of having US Med deliver your Dexcom directly to your door. You can reach out to them, no strings attached, and they can offer a benefits check. They can even reach out to your doctor to get your prescription, and they can, at no cost to you, send your devices directly to your door. Also neat. I love my Dexcom G7, but it definitely has its quirks and annoyances. And one of the complaints I often hear is that a lot of people can't get it to stick for the full 10 days. Check out this video. Here I give you 13 tips on how to make your Dexcom stick for the full sensor duration. And while you do that, why not subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications? That way you'll never miss a thing. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.